Good evening. Let's call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, can I get a roll call, please?
Yes, trustee Earp,
Here.
trustee Giroux,
Here.
trustee Craig,
Here.
trustee Saint Germain, here, trustee Daniels.
Won't be joining us this evening. All right, let's all stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. All right, can I get a motion for approval of the agenda?
I'll move we approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
I did.
Oh, I didn't.
I moved.
Sorry about
I'm
that.
sorry, I moved.
Sorry, I didn't hear you. All right, so motion carries. All right, no public comment tonight, I'm assuming still. All right, approval of the minutes for the September 18th meeting.
I'll move that we accept the minutes for the September 18th, 2023 regular meeting. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. Next, can I get a motion for the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as documented here.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right. So moving on to reports and recognition. First, I'll go over the recognitions. First from Orofino Junior Senior High School, we have Madison Melton for her work during the homecoming a success. That's kind of Madison's jam. So I'm sure she did a fabulous job. And Val Beasley for working diligently in the SPED program. So I don't think I've had the pleasure yet of meeting her. I don't think so. I'll have to do that. From IDYCA, we have the SPED teachers Heather Kelly and Angela Anderson for their hard work in updating, reviewing, and keeping IDYCA in compliance. And Mr. Hill says it's imperative for the cadets' success at IDYCA. So that's wonderful. And Dallas Berner, who started a tutoring program 1.5 years ago. He's actually IDYCA regular staff, not an education employee. And the goal was to allow strong academic peers to help others in the squadron under staff supervision. So that's been a big deal. So good job on that. From Cavendish Elementary, they just want to give Roy a big kudo for his amazing at running the maintenance of the building. And they're so grateful for him. The community members and the patrons are very happy to see that the district is taking care of their building. So that's awesome. They're very proud of it. So, and from the elementary school, Bryn Knudsen for taking on the role of the PTO president this year. We all know Bryn is very organized and has great communication skills, and I'm sure she does a fabulous job. And their annual PTO fundraiser under the guidance of the PTO, the students raised $12,690 for the PTO.
Wow.
So that's a pretty good chunk of change.
Yeah.
Good job on that. Timberline, they want to recognize the office staff, Jessica Shar and Nikki Tribe, in the operation, being effective in the operation of the building. They work to create a welcoming, service-oriented office to support students, family, and staff. They bring a positive attitude and strong work ethic to school each day. Mr. Hunter says he's extremely grateful for the service that they provide and the attitude that they choose to have, and they are really extremely pleasant. Really, really nice. They're the face of the school oftentimes and get to deal with a variety of challenging and sometimes humorous situations each day. I'm sure they do. So they are awesome.
They're dealing with Jason.
They're dealing with, yeah. All right. And that's all that I have on that. I hope I didn't miss anybody. Sometimes I usually
Very good.
end up missing somebody, but I try not to. All right. Committee reports, the Safety and Harmony Committee met.
And you were at the Harmony Committee, correct?
I was.
Okay. So I was just going to briefly go over what, so the Harmony Committee, somebody can have this fly if they'd like
I
it.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the the Harmony Committee, you're laughing because I'm on camera too. Can you see the fly? It's
Going-
really there, I promise. The Harmony Committee met a couple weeks ago. The intent and the goal of this Harmony Committee is to bring up issues that are not yet issues between certified staff and the district. So trying to nip those in the bud a little bit before they ever happen. And I was just going to kind of run through some of the items that we discussed. So one of the things the ADs are currently collecting data. We're reviewing coaching wages and time spent and those type of things. So there is a lot of data being collected on that by the ADs. So that was just a reminder. We've been looking at a potential mental health support for our staff and for our students, trying to figure out funding for that and getting some quotes on that. So FAIR has been working on that as well. And we've come up with some pretty good alternatives that we'd like to pass on down the line when the time comes. So also talked about a little bit about having our job descriptions completed and online, which are required to do. And I know Nicole and FAIR have been working on that, and I believe we have folder access on that. I'm not sure exactly if you guys got them posted. I think you do, or you have access to the folder.
Still, we have a few that are missing. We just got a package.
Right. So we had some customizing and making sure those are all accurate. We talked a little bit about the personal day approval process since we've talked since to directors and administrators and making sure that's all consistent across the district. And then another thing that was brought up was dress code for professional personnel and making sure that was enforced consistently across the district. So we've addressed numerous of those, and we actually had a little bit of follow-up meeting after that to kind of be updated as well. So I just want to give you an update on that. It's going well. We'll meet again probably prior to the end of this semester to talk about other concerns, issues, or thoughts. So
It's ongoing.
it is ongoing.
Ongoing.
Yep.
All right. Did everybody have a chance to review all the building and program reports? Comments, concerns, questions, kudos, whatever.
Just the attendance at the high schools. A lot of sick going on. Both of you. Hunting. Surprised
Right.
Jason's here tonight. Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of crud going around, I
So,
think.
Of the 21% failures, is that related to absenteeism or other issues?
Sometimes we both, there are probably gonna be some of it getting behind if they're not for extended periods of time or inconsistent attendance in that first period. But outside of that, it would be still like gamut attendance. But most of those students, especially the ones with 3 or more Fs, 3 or more Fs are required to continue learning lunch now for some intervention.
And I see you've updated your tardy policy.
Yes.
Is that to address some of that?
Yes.
Yeah, that would
Yeah,
be good.
go ahead. Go
Yes.
ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah, we updated our tardy policy because we did just see a lot of apathy and getting to anywhere on time. And there wasn't a whole lot. We didn't have anything specific in place to address that. And some of that is that first period tardy getting to school late. But parts of that is just not getting to their classes on time when they need to. So we did implement the tardy policy to help teach the lesson that if you're assigned to be somewhere, then you're there on time. And we started, as you guys can see in there, with learning lunch to make up the time, like, hey, we're going to take your free time if you choose to not. And then the next step was in-school suspension. We have seen the in-school suspension we've seen a decrease in our tardies, and people are just walking a little faster than they were before, which sounds like an odd way to put it, but there's more of a sense of urgency about getting to class on time. So
That's good.
That's
Good.
awesome.
Yeah.
yes, I've seen it's new. It's within the last couple of weeks, but I think as we've seen with the cell phone policy, as we've seen with even some of the procedural pieces of tardies, the rollout is always a little hard to tell if the data is showing what we want it to, but the initial general qualitative analysis of the feel and how things are going as far as in the school is better. So we're going to track the data, as you guys can see with the behavior intervention report that Michael's going to do every month. We'll continue to include tardies on that to see if it's decreasing, trending down, if it's working well. So
Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
Two more. Cell phone policy, is that working? Are we seeing
yeah, and
a
as you know,
positive impact with that?
yeah, in Michael's report, you can see that we had a small downtrend even within the last week. we had to put in some specific procedures for what happened after 3, because our current policy doesn't read, it just says administrator discretion, and that felt a little, so I usually can see I updated the procedures to include what specifically happens. That's helped. Once they lose it for a week, a lot of those kids are like, what do you mean a whole
Right.
week? And so we've seen a lot of great parent support.
Good.
That's been super helpful, to be honest. We've had a lot of parents when we call them and deliver the message to them. They're like, okay, thank you. I'll do. And we've had a few, nuanced things here and there, but overall, I would say, yes, the policy has greatly improved the cell phone condition at our school.
And then with our attendance, both for you and Jason, both the bringing in a doctor's note or the excused, are we seeing a better response from parents on that? Just kind of overall from last year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely getting more parents reaching out and saying this is why, or, the encouragement toward my attendance secretary, our attendance secretaries too, is make those calls, find out why they're not there so
Yeah.
that we can have something on file. So,
And,
yeah.
and the consistency between buildings has greatly improved with Emma tracking.
Well, that's
that,
what I was
being a part
asking.
of
That's
that.
that district policy,
Absolutely.
Are we getting better? I know
Yes.
last year was a little controversial at first but I think it's the right thing to do.
Yep.
And if we're seeing an impact in a positive way, then it was definitely was the right thing to do.
And
So-
the district's been really good. They've provided, Emma's coming to work in our building pretty consistently to help support Trinity in that process. And, I think that we're learning a lot from her, and she's giving us a ton of support. So she's been a great new addition to our crew.
Yep,
So
good.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's
I'm
all I
hearing
got. Yeah.
really good positive feedback from parents and patrons about the overall look of the high school or senior high school, excuse me. And the bathrooms and just the general overall feeling of the buildings.
Did you? She got him.
Thank
Oh.
you.
Slow.
Thank you.
But yeah, so it's being well received by the public, and I think that parents are seeing a big, I heard one comment from someone of, my kid gets his cell phone taken away and it goes for, that's it, he's done, not getting it back. Like, it's from my daughter, but that's
I
beside the
think
point.
it's-
But
I think it's just taken redirected the focus,
Yeah.
which is what we needed to do. So I think it was a great move on both of those. The
Yeah.
attendance and cell phone policy are making an impact.
are huge,
Yep.
yeah.
And they will make a bigger impact
Yeah.
as we get more consistent, more steady with it.
And I think that the parents particularly are having a better understanding of the process and how the
Yeah.
attendance affects the achievement and the whole bit. I think
Yeah.
it's awesome. So good
Is-
job.
Is Jim Hill on? Fine.
Is he? No.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, okay.
I have one thing to add to me. If
Yeah.
you want to. So I just wanted to add, just today, we got the news release basically of the, what was Senate Bill 1100, the bathroom bill. So, and you guys have probably heard that in the news that has come up, and that is being implemented as law is what the legislators wrote it. The stay was dismissed basically. So it'll still be fought in court down the line, but currently right now it doesn't really affect us. It didn't affect us before. We're practicing what that law is. So that's where we're at. Just want to let you guys know that is still ongoing in case there's any questions.
Okay. Anything else? Feel like we're 2 months in now, and I think we're almost at the end of the first quarter, and I think things are going fantastic. Seems to. Good things happening all over, so that's great. Okay. Anybody else? All right. Moving on then to our discussion items. The audit.
Can
Oh, yeah,
can we go back?
sure.
We were talking about the freezer being put into play this week, right? Just an update from Carmen on how that's looking. I
Sure.
want to give some shout out to their team over there.
Well, the new freezer was turned on Friday and will run all weekend. Coming this morning, the temperature was good. So our first truck delivery today, we actually put frozen food in today. So it's like, woo. So some of it's there, some of the frozen still at the old storeroom, but eventually over the next couple of weeks, we'll probably get the rest of it moved over there. Which I have to say, couldn't have come in any better time because I think we've already had a repairman 3 times this year on the old units to keep them up and
Oh.
going. So good thing we didn't put it off much longer.
Yeah,
So
exactly what we
perfect-
were trying to avoid.
Perfect timing, yeah. So it's great. It looks nice. Invite you all to come over. Hang out in our new freezer. See what it looks like.
Bring a coat.
Come
Bring
on
a
like
coat.
Tuesdays when we have to ship food.
Ice cream party. Ice cream.
Yeah. Perfect.
You didn't kill that fly, Chris. It's still-
There's still another one.
Oh, there's more than
There's
one.
one.
They bred. All right. All right. Thanks, Brian. So, all right. So the audit. Discussion. We had the work session with it. It
But
seems.
I said in the work session, but I'll say publicly at the
Yeah.
board meeting that we are a small but mighty team and the overall audit outcome was very positive.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Turned out good. It's, yeah. We've done a lot of, when I look past on, since it's almost election time and all that good stuff, I look back on the past 4 years and the things that we've accomplished and the things
Mhm.
that we have done. It's amazing. Everything from freezers to new classrooms to heat and air and bathrooms and
Cell phone policy.
cell phone policy. Yeah. So we've come a long ways.
Parking lots.
Attendance
Parking
policy.
lot,
lot.
paint,
New
attendance.
building.
New-
for the Fifth graders are no
Yeah.
longer in those horrible.
Yeah. I
sheds.
mean, so there's been it's been a lot.
Mhm.
It's been a lot. We've come a long ways. And I think everybody should be very proud of how far we've come.
But
I
we
agree.
also have to recognize that those big pots of money that we've been playing with are now gone.
Yeah.
And we are down to almost the bare minimum of what we need to carry over to be able to pay our bills on an ongoing basis. So we're gonna have to be a little bit smarter, wiser, and tighten our
Yeah.
belts a little bit to get to a position of a little bit more flexibility.
Yeah. I think this fiscal year and probably next fiscal year is going to be a rebuilding time financially for us to get our money, pots of money built back up and get back into a better position, but we can do it.
That's right.
So. Any other questions or comments on the audit?
Just a good
Yeah.
report
Good.
and
report.
very well organized.
I think it's simplified
Yeah,
now. It's a lot simpler than
Lot
what
more
I've seen in the
confidence.
past years with that skazillion.
You just understand it.
I do. I just understand because it's simpler and I hate
Yeah.
numbers. So there I am. Yeah. So, all right. Next up is the Timberline Foundation request for us to pay for half of the new announcer's booth. We need to have a little bit of a discussion on that. It has come to our attention through our attorney that legally, because it's after the fact, we can't do it. So we would like to, we have, I just totally lost what I was saying.
I'm not sure what you were
I-
going to say.
But we have money that we've already put in. We have contributed some
Oh.
of the labor for the
Mhm.
electrical and some of
Yeah,
those
electrical
things.
labor.
And it
materials.
looks like we probably will have to have it surveyed and an easement and some things like that. So there are some ongoing costs for the district, but our attorney says we can't pay for it after the fact. So it kind of is what it is, regrettably that we can't do that, but so anybody have any questions, comments?
Well, I did on the survey and the fact that we're not on our property. Did we know? I mean, obviously we knew.
So,
Oh.
yeah, so what we ended up doing initially was getting basically a notarized agreement saying they were okay with that.
Okay.
But technically it needs to be more legal than that. So that's where we're being advised to go from here,
Oh, I see.
is to do it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Glad we
Yeah.
knew.
Yeah.
Permission.
And we appreciate the foundation. I mean, that's a
Oh, definitely.
beautiful,
Mhm.
beautiful thing. We so appreciate that. And regrettably, there's not a whole lot we can do because it's after the fact and we have legal challenges there that can't really do anything about. So.
so what would be the best course of action if something like that were to happen again? What was the suggestion there?
So technically what we were advised is if there's gonna be a project like that, it needs to be initiated by us. I mean, if they're wanting to initiate it, obviously
Right.
that's okay, but it needs to come with
That's what I was
approval,
getting at.
pre-approval from school, our district, and then ask for that support outside of that. So we would be
Mhm.
initiating and then ask for the support otherwise. It was
Mhm.
kind of done backwards with
Mhm.
great intentions and, good
yeah,
heart.
sure.
I mean, all of that, we absolutely understand that, but that's it should really be coming the other direction. They're there to support us, not us support them.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and being a public entity, it is difficult. I mean, it's not legal for us to pay another nonprofit like that. So.
Yeah, I thought it was more about that than the fact that it came afterwards, was that
Mhm.
legally, it's not
Yeah.
an
Yeah,
appropriate
it's not
Correct.
legal.
way to move the money.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
That's not.
Yep.
That's what I understood.
Anyhow, anybody else have anything else?
We don't want to
that?
discourage that.
No.
No, we don't.
absolutely not.
Definitely not. And it
Maybe.
would have, if it would have happened differently,
Yeah.
we probably could have done something, but at any rate, that's kind of where we're at on that. Not a whole big bunch we could do about it. All right. So if there's nothing else,
You know, the policy up next.
yeah,
on
policy updates.
One more thing, I guess.
Oh.
So it's on an action item. I'm just assuming we're not taking any action
No.
on that then.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, and procedure generally calls for not doing a negative action. If that makes sense. So
We
if
just
you,
would do no action.
yeah,
Just do
correct.
no-
or if
yeah.
you did an action, you would have to do an action as in, you know, we make a motion to approve and then be denied, basically. So to do a negative action is not the right way to do it.
Yeah, so we
so
just,
no
we
action
just
per
choose
se.
not to
Just,
take
yeah,
any action on it. So,
have that fly.
God. All right.
We all look crazy up here.
So for
Mhm.
clarity, we are doing our second read on the September, and then the October ones are on there for first read, and Chris and I were mentioning chatting to make sure that the access is allowed so you guys can review those.
Mhm.
I usually go through the week before the board meeting on the Sunday before policy and make sure that all of my access stuff is really clean, and I do any uploading, but I can always do it sooner than that if needed. So the ones that are up for approval today is that 1100, which is membership, which talks about if there's a change in zoning for board where board members currently reside, then they would be able to maintain that role as long as they didn't physically move somewhere out of their own zone.
And is this being driven by the state?
Yes,
Okay,
ISBA
thank you.
recommended. Yeah, no, these are all the, so these
what
ones
I
are all
thought.
of our
Okay,
ISBA.
yes.
We only have two on our list for today that were district initiated or negotiated initiative. The rest all came from the state. And then the 2120 is the program evaluation and diagnostic test. This is just an update to maintain alignment with the new parental rights laws. There's a lot of those that just are logistical language. Research studies, the same thing, just making sure that the proper permissions are obtained and parents are notified before research studies. And then required elementary offerings, both Jason and Denise attended the policy meeting to make sure that they felt comfortable with the required elementary offerings language and worked on that as well. So they were comfortable with it, what is there.
And we have the resources to allocate to that. I mean, do we
Mhm.
have the arts everywhere?
Yeah, and I think one of the conversations that came up with our group was the way that it was written, because originally the state had recommended language that says courses specifically, but the conversation that the elementary principals had was that sometimes those goals are met through resources and activities that happen outside of a specific course taught. So health fairs, different things like that. So they are meeting the requirements. That's why we adjusted the wording to say that, there's offerings available, not courses required. So, and that's in
Okay.
alignment with Idaho code.
Okay, I
It's-
saw that.
yeah. So same way. So, and then the other one, the two new ones, more they're for their second read, and they're not new, but the sick leave bank reconstruction, which the sick leave committee redid after negotiations as was requested by the union. And we had district staff on that committee and we had teachers on the committee to redo the language. So that updated language is on there. for
And can you
guys.
explain to me this bank in association with the Percy sick leave that we heard about in the audit?
Okay, so these are.
Are they
yeah,
separate?
So,
they're
yeah, they are completely
Okay,
different.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
I was
That's
like,
all. That's all I need.
no. And then the
So
other,
I guess there is a connection. So when a person would sign up for the sick leave bank, they would basically be forfeiting that from Percy. Is that correct? As a carryover. Mm-hmm.
Well,
Right. Utilization.
oh.
You're talking about the, yes. Yeah. So banking those days, you can utilize your sick days after retirement or leaving to utilize for purchasing health insurance. So you can use those days you have not used. So when somebody buys in or basically buys into the sick leave bank, they would be taking some of those days and putting them in a bank and they can't carry on with them.
Oh, I thought it was
That makes sense.
gifting, so other people in need could use it.
It is,
Mhm.
so they're taking from their own source
but it
and
has to
putting
be
in. Yes,
Their own
yes,
sick leave.
sure. Yeah.
I'll just sit down here.
Yeah. Come on over.
Okay. So the sick leave bank, it's an optional benefit that we extend to employees at the time that they're hired. Although we
They-
did, they have
They
the
have to
option
be
to enroll
vested though, right? That's what I read in here.
for the sick leave bank.
Yes.
No, so we have, it's basically available to certified staff and classified staff separately. They have to contribute 5 days, and I think that's what you're talking about, to be considered vested. And vested with the sick leave bank means that then they're eligible to request using the bank.
Oh.
Um,
Vested with the bank.
Yes,
not-
correct.
Not with.
But yeah,
Yeah, they have to
totally-
be vested
totally
before they
separate
can
from-
pull from it.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. They have to have 5 before they can.
And there's
Yes.
several
And
ways
so
they can
we
do
give
that.
them the option because most of our classified staff is allocated 11 sick leave days each year, certified as 12. So they can either choose to donate all 5 in year 1, which makes them eligible immediately to utilize the sick leave bank if they qualify for it. Or they can do 2 days first year, 2 days second year, 1 day the third year. You know, keeping in mind that they are eligible to request using the bank until they've contributed all 5 of those days.
Thank you.
Well done.
What is that? Is there a cap on how many hours they can use out of that sick bank?
Well, I don't think there's necessarily a cap, but it's subject to, so there's a committee for certified and classified that reviews each request. And so they can approve the requested amount of days. And the requests are done based on a school year. So the request can't carry over into the new school year. That would have to be a separate request. But I would say no cap per se.
Yeah, I think they have to exhaust all their own.
So the
Like,
conditions to
yeah.
be able to request it, or you have to have exhausted all of your own sick and personal leave.
So there is new language in there. Within 5-year period, the period number of sick days granted to an employee from a sick leave bank will not exceed 174 days over a 5-year period.
Yep.
That they just added that. Yeah.
And it used to be half of your work year is what it used to say.
It says
Because-
that above it.
Does it still say that?
Yep.
Half the current contract term. Yep, it does still say it. I knew. it
Within the
said that.
5-year period, they added
Yes.
an additional cap. And the goal intent behind the revision came from all parties involved, both district and from the negotiations team, on just that we have our elementary principal sits on it and also some of the teaching staff, and they just said what they were doing wasn't working. And they really wanted to sit down as a committee and talk about all the pros and cons for the last couple of years. And they came up with this revision, and it was reviewed by our negotiated group, and that we felt like it hit the parameters.
Yeah. And employees don't have to do it.
But you have to do it to draw from it.
Yes,
Yes.
you have to be in a drop room, but
Yeah,
they don't.
that's what I understood that clearly,
Yeah.
but, and the comment by the auditor is what threw my head
Right,
into it.
into the-
differently.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 different
So,
things.
separate things. Thank you.
And then the other one is also something that came out of this last year's negotiations, the 5400, which is to remove the COVID language out of this policy on leaves of absence, so that being able to get your sick days back if you had were quarantined for any reason, including COVID, and that language was removed as it's no longer applicable in this setting. So those are the ones for this to be voted for the second read. I do want to make you aware of maybe taking a close read on some of these next ones that are coming up. One of them was a district proposed one, I think my number's back there. They're on the 3650. And this is our video recording. We currently have written into policy that we can't collect the audio. But that in bus situations would be helpful to be able to have the audio. So we'd like to be able to remove the limitation to audio, but that's on a first read. So we'll vote on that. You guys could vote on that for the next meetings.
It's 3560.
3560. So I had my two numbers mixed up. And then you also notice at the very bottom, the transportation policies update. So Derek has spent a significant amount of time updating his transportation policies with the recommendation of the audit that was conducted on him. And the advice he was given was by the auditor themselves, like that here's a really good rule book manual to kind of reference. And then him and I sat down and he went through every policy with me and talked about things he'd like to change, things that would make it more workable for his drivers. And that's under first read. But like I said, there's a lot of them. So I wanted to give you guys a heads up if you wanted to get an active view. And I do think I updated the viewing status on that. So you guys could start reviewing now. And I think
That's the one I requested.
the transportation.
thought,
I did
ooh,
that one
that's gonna be
earlier.
Heavy.
So it should be,
So, okay, great.
should be open now. if not
So
in the-
just to comment on the tracker itself,
Yes,
3560 is column A, but then in proposed, you
yes.
have
And
it.
so that's the number one. I said I need to
Okay.
make sure that those numbers are.
It's not any
And-
longer, is it?
Did you fix it? Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Dr.
Oh,
Garrett,
it's fixed.
You just
Good
fixed
job.
it. Beautiful.
So on that one,
Teamwork.
have you reached out to law enforcement or to see where our legal standing is around
And that'll-
capturing voice?
And that'll be all part of the process that before I present to the policy committee meeting is we'll reach out to our legal side of things and just make sure that whatever recommendation the policy committee makes is in alignment with the legal standard.
Thank you.
You might, I think 7408 is still lacking.
Access.
Oh, let's see here.
Yeah, the October ones, I may not have adjusted. all of
The
their
others I had
versions.
access to, that one I do not.
Okay.
So,
I can change it on there too.
yeah, just making you aware.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. Any more questions on the policy updates?
I gotta go back to the sick policy again.
Okay.
So. Dr. Garrett, you had mentioned that you could use this after retirement,
Not the sick leave bank.
not the sick leave.
No, those are sick days that are unused. You're
So when
basically
a person retires, those sick leave days are gone. They don't get those.
correct.
Okay.
So when the person retires, their personal sick leave days. Is that what you're asking?
Right.
They go, oh, she's here. They're banked. You're fine. Yeah.
So you're asking about the sick leave balance of an employee at retirement?
Right.
Okay. So for the school districts, how that works is what we do is we measure it in days. And then we take the number of days multiplied by their daily rate of pay. And that dollar amount is the value of their sick leave. And at retirement, it's part of Percy's process that they request that from me. And they will then take half of that. And then that's the amount available to that employee to use to pay medical.
Is there a bottom number? You have to have X amount of hours in order to
No, I
sit that through
can,
Percy?
well, by nature there is because medical insurance premiums are so expensive. So,
It
But
was
there's no
equal to-
fixed hour amount. You have to have 600 hours stored
correct,
minimum
no,
in order.
Yeah.
So theoretically, somebody could donate into that bank prior to retirement if they're savvy with numbers, right? Could they donate to that bank and then retire with what's left?
to the sick leave bank.
Mhm.
I mean, they could, well, they could.
Why would they give away sick leave that could be
If they don't meet
factored
the-
into that calculation?
Yeah, they'd
If they
be,
don't meet the matrix,
Oh,
if they
Right.
don't need it.
So,
And
so
I-
most
Right.
employees will use that as a gap filler between retirement and Medicare.
Guess
And
it's not a concern. What I'm
Yeah.
trying to get my head around is the future of paying it. We have to pay for sick time 10 years from now, 20 years from now. Are we gonna, but we're gonna fund this bank. We're gonna have to pay for that bank too. So it's coming out of theirs. They're donating 5 days, 20 years from now. What's that 5 days worth?
Well, I think the answer would be depending on if they used it or not.
Right. And that was why I was asking with the retirement is if there was a minimum that they had to have in order
Right.
to go towards their retirement benefits. Because you're saying that's not the case.
No, if you retired with one sick day, you could get that benefit for that one,
Gotcha.
through the calculations, it wouldn't
for that
fund much,
dollar
but yeah,
75 that you would get
Eh,
for your medical.
yeah, and it can only be used
Good
towards that.
benefit.
Yeah. So, yeah,
Okay.
good question.
That's all I had.
Yeah, and now that you mention that though, when you think about it, if say we had our highest paid teacher versus our lowest paid teacher and the highest paid teacher made the contributions actually technically probably would be worth different amounts. I mean,
Mhm.
consider, yeah, yeah,
And I get
I get
that. I truly was
Yeah.
focused on the retirement side.
Mhm.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but interesting. I never really
Yeah.
thought about that way till you just said that, but yeah. I guess it would.
I have Percy too, but we have different rules.
Yeah.
There's different rules for everybody on Percy. It's amazing. It's amazing. But anyway, okay. So anything else on policies? Are we good? All right, so we need to go into a short executive session. So can I get a motion?
I'll move that we move into executive session according to Idaho Code 74-206, 1A and B.
I'll second.
Madam Clerk, can I get a roll call?
Trustee Saint Germain,
Yes.
trustee Craig,
Yes.
trustee Giroux,
Yes.
trustee Earps.
Yes. Right. Okay, back from executive. We have no action items from our executive session, so we'll move on to our real action items. Which first one is the audit. Can I get a motion?
I'm gonna move that we approve the fiscal year 2023 audit and approve it for distribution to the public.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Yay. Okay, next is the supplemental contracts. Dr. Garrett, do you want to just give a little overview on that? real quick?
Yeah, I think there were three on there, if I recall,
Mhm.
right? I can pull it up. One was a change of class sponsor, and then the other was we had broke up the AD responsibilities at Timberline to kind of take the pressure off of one person. So that was split up even further. Those were two of them.
All right, can I get a motion?
And I just want to clarify, that's the same total dollars for that AD. We just split it up over
Split the money
multiple.
up.
Yeah.
Make a motion that we accept the supplemental contracts.
I'll second
Any discussion? All in favor?
it. Aye.
Aye, motion carries. We're not going to take any action on the Timberline Foundation request and our early graduation request as well. Next is the policies. Can I get a motion?
So I just want to clarify the numbers on that. They were 1,100, 2120, 2130, 2303, 5401, 5400. That was it.
Okay.
Is that right, Becca? Okay, double checking.
Someone prepared to give a motion.
I got the list here.
You gonna move?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we accept the second review of the September, the second review and second reading.
Yep.
Of the following policies: 2120, 2130, 2303, and 5401, 5400.
And 11.
I didn't start with that one. And 1100.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right, next, the new hires and separations. Can I get a motion?
I'll move that we accept the new hires and separations listed there.
And I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right. Any input for our next regular meeting, which will be November 20th at the junior senior high school?
Orofino.
Orofino, junior senior high school.
Yes.
Oh,
She's too participating.
Sorry. What is our typical November topic? Just for my edification and reminder.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I think just normal business. I don't think there's anything in
There's no
particular.
work session. in
Mm-mm.
November?
No,
Yeah, November,
Okay.
December.
Thank you.
correct.
yeah, just
Yep.
because of holidays.
Can't think of anything major at this point.
No, if anything comes up, we'll put it
Yep.
out.
I just like to have my head thinking
Yeah.
a month
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, with the holidays coming up, I think that November and December, we can disperse with any work sessions and that, and just do our daily business. Then in January, everything starts again without him. But
You'll be relieved.
So a public
Will be.
reminder, we have a open seat with no potential candidate. For
So-
Pierce Upper Grangemont, correct?
Mhm.
Cascade Drive
Yes.
area.
down there, Fort Rudolph Road.
Rudo. Join us. It's fun.
Most of the time.
It's a learning experience.
So just for reference, last year we had so we had a draft of our calendar.
Oh,
Policy
what even did that
reviews.
committee? Did I miss, was that the meeting
have-
I was gone?
We haven't started that yet.
Okay.
For the next. We did substitute teacher pay. And then special education certified FTEs. We approved so really kind of, those were the kind of the unusual things.
Mhm.
So policy and this additional compensation last year was for people services, instructional people services. So those things all came down last year at this time in November.
Yeah, so
So
see what comes up.
yeah, I don't see anything major.
All right.
So who is the calendar committee for that request, the public request we had? For graduation change?
The calendar, oh, I'd have to look at the actual names on it, but yeah, that's already been changed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
missed
yeah, that was,
that.
Yeah,
yeah,
we
it was
did.
a meeting that you missed. Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry
Thank
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, we did
Yeah.
that. All right.
Sorry about that.
If there's nothing else, can I get a motion for adjournment?
I'll move wager.
I'll second.
All in favor?
I
Aye.
All right.
Motion carries. We are adjourned.